Hi everyone. Well, people have been asking how you do the videos with the insets of yourself, and so you have two copies of yourself playing and you're accompanying yourself and so forth. So I've prepared a video which hopefully will explain how I do it. Essentially you need a video editor, of which there are many, one or two of which are free. I believe Shotcut is free. Personally, I've stumbled upon this thing called VideoPad, which costs at the moment $70 or $40. The problem with the $40 one is that it only allows 2 audio tracks, which actually could be enough. You could work around that actually, mainly because for the best audio, you really don't want to be mixing your audio within a video editor. You should be taking it out to something called a DAW, a digital audio workstation, which is what you use to actually record music properly, and then you get a kind of almost a studio kind of recording setup, and then you just move that sound back into the video editor. But we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it simple today and just work within VideoPad, and we've got 2 video tracks that we're going to import and fiddle with. So my little version of Shenandoah should be somewhere. Right, okay, sorry. Here we are. So the first thing you do is you just drag it into this area at the top left of the video editor. A lot of video editors actually work this way, where you drag stuff into a sort of holding bay before you actually do something with it. So for that reason, I'm going to drag something else in here. I'm going to drag in the dreaded banjo solo, and I won't be dragging the harmony because it's just too embarrassing on this occasion. Right, so we haven't done anything yet. We just actually made the video editor aware of these 2 videos that I shot. The videos I just shot one at a time. So I shot one of myself with the guitar, and I shot another one where I did the banjo on top. So I had the banjo, the original track in my headphones, and then I played along to it. And we'll have to match them up. So in comes the main track. We just drag it down here, and then it goes to our timeline. And what are we going to do now? I think first of all we'll do timing. I think timing is the most important thing. So we'll get the banjo thing down, and the banjo obviously is only in part of the song, and what we're going to do is we're going to move it around so that it matches where the banjo solo actually is. Now, professionals of video editing will tell you about the clap technique, where you do a loud clap, and that helps line everything else up. But I actually cheated on this occasion. I didn't play the banjo all the way through. I just did it for the solo. So I don't really have any guides to help me along. So I'm going to have to muddle it. But I happen to know that at 1:35:80 is where the banjo should kick off. So I just zoom in here to get really tight control over the time. And we're going to go to something like 1:35:80. What have I got it at? Note that duration, yeah, 1:35:40 so far. See if I can move it a little bit more. 1:35:60. 1:35:841. That'll do. And just to hear what it sounds like, by the way. So this is the folk song Shenandoah. So here it goes. Last I seen you away, I'm bound away across the wide. Right, here's the banjo player warming up here. Missouri. He's getting a bit panicky. Is he going to make it? He's in. Okay. Right. So the timing is done. The next thing I think I would do is the audio effects. Now, as I say, My preference would be to take all the audio tracks out of the video editor, bung them in a studio software, and I use something called Reaper, and really give them a good tweak before giving them back. But this time I'll use the effects that actually are within the video editor itself, which are by no means bad. So we're going to look at audio effects. Let's go to audio track 1, and we'll go into effects, and we'll add a tiny bit of chorus to both tracks, just to give them a bit more meat. So, but I'm going to take it right down to some very modest settings, because basically you want it so it's just slightly thicker but unnoticeable. I think that'll be all right. And then I'll give it a little bit of reverb. As we all know, reverb is quite a good thing. I won't fiddle with their settings on the reverb much because I have no clue what they actually do. But all I know is the dry gain, we take that right down. So minus 30-ish there. Right, so that is, I've done that to the main track. So let's see how that's getting on. 7 years since last I seen you, away and that way. Not, it's a little bit in your face, that reverb, isn't it? Let me take that down a bit. Reverb, I'm going to fiddle with that dry gain again. Don't take it down a bit. Can't really take it down much more, actually. All right, so I'd prefer a nicer reverb. Incidentally, another difference between the $70 version and the $40 version of VideoPad is that the $70 version can use what they call VST plugins. And VST plugins are actually what you use in the studio. You see here, the Masters edition gets everything, but the Home edition, the $40 one, doesn't have external plugins. So, and external plugins you can buy, you can spend your life buying external plugins, and you can get all manner of reverbs and God knows what, auto-tune even. But you wouldn't use auto-tune in this case because we've got guitar and vocal together, so that's pretty much a no-no. We can't use auto-tune there because it'll actually start to auto-tune the guitar, and then it'll start sounding really weird. Okay, I have got to do audio track 2, and I'm going to do the same treatment there. So just a bit of chorus to thicken things up, only a little bit. Quite often I wouldn't normally add any chorus at all. I'd use whatever's in the studio software for mixing, but I'm trying to make it sound a bit better here, so let's put a bit of chorus in. Hopefully not noticeable. So that's the chorus and a bit of reverb. And that reverb, we take the dry gain down to about minus 30. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing, but this seems to sort of work okay. I hate adjusting reverbs. I much prefer it when they just say, you know, do you want the Albert Hall or do you want the school hall? Right, so that is the sound. See if our banjo player is going to sound alright when he comes in. Here he comes. Panic. You on, mate? He's in. Right, nearly missed a note there, but got away with it. Right, so that's sounding alright. It's sounding a little bit like it's been recorded in my lockup. But I can't really do much to the reverb. I'm going to live with that for now. While I'm doing this, you know, I am going to save it to just save my work. One thing about videos is they're not awfully stable. So I'm going to call this Shenandoah, I suppose. Yeah, they have a habit of falling over. It's just so helpful. And therefore I think you should save your work often. Right, so first thing, we did the timing. We juggled the clips to be aligned. Then we did the audio effects, slightly balls aching. Next we'll do some trimming, and mainly trimming. So because we've got a whole load of banjo player where he's all panicking, and we don't want that. We want the banjo player to appear like he knows what he's doing. So I've got that clip selected. I've got the banjo clip selected, which is video track 2. So I split that clip, and I simply actually I think I probably should have split it slightly earlier. Right, split it there. Right, so that's, get rid of that. So that's that. Let's go right to the end of the clip, because we don't want it when I'm packing away. Putting the banjo away. Another year. How's it finish? Not sure about this. Hang on. Yeah, I think we could finish it there. So there we could probably split all tracks and get rid of everything after that. So I think that we're in good shape. Yeah. So we've clipped. We haven't done the start yet, I don't think, because there's a bit. Now what I worry about clipping the start is I've actually aligned everything. So I don't want, I want everything to be moved forward. So I think the safest way to do that is to select all the tracks, Control A, and group them, I think. Group all the tracks. So that means if I cut them at the beginning, then they'll all move along. Otherwise I might bugger up my timing. Okay, so let's go to the start. Right, so about there, yeah. So split selected clips there, and then something weird happened. Control Z undoes that. Yeah, I think. Then we delete that track, yeah. Now, before I did that, because I grouped them, I'm hoping that the timing survived. I'm using the mouse wheel just to sort of zoom out and in. Let's hope. Yeah, okay, that survived. So that was the third bit of the process. So first of all we did the timing, then we did the audio effects, then we trimmed. Now I think we can start to focus on this, on getting this new clip, because at the moment what actually happens, as you probably noticed, is we're going along with the main clip, and the banjo player comes in, and he comes in over the top, and he just blots out everything. So the way we're going to do these inserts is that the banjo player is still going to come in over the top, but he is going to be only partial. We're going to make him smaller, and we're going to shove him off to one corner, and we're going to make the rest of his frame, if you like, transparent, so that underneath we'll see the main video. So let's do that. So we select the banjo player, and we are going to crop to start with. So we go left mouse click for effects, and we go crop. Right, so let's make him. Oh, we don't want to lose his banjo, but we don't need the shirts really. I think we need kind of most of that really, except we don't having the microphone. Oh, I don't know. We'll have the microphone there. Why not? Right. So that's the cropping. The next thing. So first of all, it was timing. Then it was audio effects. Then it was trimming. Then it was cropping. The next thing we're going to do is scale and position. So we're still in the video effects for the banjo, and we will do some scale. Right, and I get this little funny square thing here, and I just move that diagonally up to start to make him smaller. Banjo player's probably feeling a bit insulted by this sort of reduction in stature. Okay, so that was good. The next thing is I want to move him to one corner. You can see, by the way, that there's a black and white checkered background, which means that that's going to be the transparent bit. So underneath that is going to be our main picture. And it may not seem obvious as we do this editing that that's what it is. And this confused the hell out of me. I thought, well, where's my bloody main picture? Is it going to happen? But I now know that by editing the banjo player, I'm effectively making him smaller. I'm making his background transparent. And next thing, finally, I've got to move him actually. So I go to the effects and I'll go to position. Right, so I think probably top left. That'll do. Right, so just to recap, first we did the timing, then we did the audio effects, then we did the trimming, then we did the cropping, then we did scale and positioning. And the final thing we're going to do is the transitions. But before we do anything like that, I'm going to save. The thing about the transitions, I find at the best left to the end. I don't know. I think they're most resource intensive on the computer. And if anything's going to go wrong, it quite often is in the transitions. And so I think they're best left to the end. You get everything sort of coming in at the right place. Oh, by the way, I'll just show you how it is coming in. I didn't show you that. Right, so the banjo player should come in on cue. Away and that way across the wide Missouri. Here he comes. There he goes. Right, perfect. Well played, mate. Right, so transitions means volume in and out and picture in and out. So let's do the banjo player to start with. His volume is fine because he just is quiet and then he starts playing. So we're going to need a fade in. That's really easy. If I click on this funny little S thing here at the beginning of the clip, it will offer me a fade in straight away. So I'll give him, I quite like a long fade in. So give him a 3-second fade in. Okay, so he's now going to fade in. His sound's going to come in straight away, but his image is going to fade in. There he goes. And at the end, we're going to want him to fade out. Now, one thing I learned, when you click this thing at the end, funny less thing at the end, for effects at the end, fade through black is not what you want. We just want fade, because we want to fade to whatever's underneath. Fade through black screws you up, basically. So just a plain fade there. We'll make it 3 seconds, because we got quite long fades. And so he's going to have a fade of 3 seconds. And so we'll have a look at that. There he goes. I noticed, by the way, curiously, I don't understand why, but it's faded the main track as well. Don't know why it did that. Let me undo that fade. So I've undone that fade. So there's now no fade. I just wonder maybe whether we had both tracks, whether we need to ungroup the tracks actually. No, that's all right. Okay, so I think I've got this one on effect. Fade. That was a long fade. I want it a short fade, but I want 3-second fade. Right. How's it going now? Right, it's faded both of them together. I'm happy with that, but I don't know why I did that. Okay, so that was that's the fades. Anything else we can do? Nothing really. Did I do a transition right at the beginning of the clip? I probably didn't. Right at the beginning, we want to fade in to start with, so it's just a nice sort of, that's all right, yeah. So we've got to fade out at the end. You can fade the audio out at the end. Of course, the audio goes quiet, but it's quite, this is still a bit of over ringing at the end. So you can do a fade out of, let's say, 2 seconds at the end. Fade out 2 seconds. Right, yeah. And actually, I think it's not a bad idea to put a fade in. So on that audio track 1, just fade in for a second. Because there's sometimes a sort of slight background hiss, which you can get rid of with effects. But if you do notice a background hiss, hopefully there's some of these low pass and high pass filters might get rid of that. Again, you put it into Reaper, you can do absolutely anything you like, and then you just import the audio track back in again. So I think that's about done. So I just save it and export it, video file, let it do what it wants to do. No idea what that is. Look at the size of it, 170 megabytes. And that's it. It will now spend the next few minutes exporting an MP4 video, which YouTube or Facebook would accept. And the reason it's so big, actually, you can see the resolution. I've shot it in really huge resolution there. Okay, that's it.